Okay. Want to go through a little exercise with you guys here. And I want you to play along with me as you're listening, wherever you may be, in your car or, on the treadmill or whatever you're doing, and just listen. I want you to go through this mental exercise with me. Because we could sit there and talk about what the Falcons are going to do in the draft, right? We could sit there and talk about, who they're going to look at and what guys they may be able to get, what guys they may be able to draft, if it's a quarterback or whatever. Uh, and that's always a fun exercise. But let's just look at something different from the standpoint of a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? That old adage, and 95% of NFL GMs would tell you that when it comes to getting a quarterback, would you rather go get the guy who's never played an NFL snap or the proven commodity that is out there and already a NFL starter? All the GMs tell you, give me the NFL starter. Developing young, money aside, developing young guys takes time. There's a lot more risk involved. There's a lot of things that go into it. Getting the NFL ready quarterback is always easier. It is. So let's just say, for argument's sake, the Falcons could go down that road. Remember, this is a team with a ton of cap space. So salary of quarterback here doesn't really matter. Take this with a grain of salt because some of this is done in a vacuum. And some ideas of trades that could be out there would cost more than you'd be willing to give. That's fine. But just kind of play along because I think it's a fair barometer of in your head who you would want on your team right now that may be above Desmond Ridder. So it's Desmond Ridder or this quarterback. We'll start with Lamar Jackson. Now, look, it's tough. The idea that Lamar Jackson is going to hit free agency is probably not going to happen. However, they could. There's two tags out there. There's the exclusive franchise tag, which puts his cap number at around 40 million. And then there is the non-exclusive one where you could trade him for 2 first-round picks if somebody wanted to get him at a cheaper rate. Now, I'm not suggesting the Falcons would. No one has ever done it. That's what the Ravens are likely going to do, given the other franchise tag. But, again, very much so, if Lamar Jackson became available, would you want Lamar Jackson over Desmond Ridder? The obvious answer is yes. Probably everybody would. I think that's very much a different level of quarterback that we're talking about here. Here's an interesting case with a guy who's playing some of the best football of his career right now, who's cast off as a throwaway and put on the scrap heap. And that's Jared Goff. Jared Goff has 1 year left on his deal. And Detroit could move on from him if they wanted to and go get a younger guy. Jared Goff's really interesting right now. Jared Goff, to me, size, arm strength, ability to really be a guy that would fit well in Arthur Smith's offense. At the number you're getting him at a bargain price of $23 million, which is what is left on his contract, I think genuinely this is a guy you could take a look at. I know a lot of people, don't like him, but he's been really solid all year long. He's been really, really solid. And I believe in Arthur Smith enough that if they were to let him go or they wanted to trade him, then yeah, absolutely. Another guy that I'm a big believer in for Arthur Smith would be Ryan Tannehill. If the Titans wanted to trade him, he's got 2 years left on his deal. And again, he's not making insane amount of money in the quarterback scale. But the Titans, a reunion with Arthur Smith to me sounds fantastic. For me, it does. I think right now, Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee with absolutely no weapons. And yeah, the Titans have no weapons right now. With Treylon Burks hurt, they have nothing. They have nobody to throw the ball to. At least the Falcons have Drake London. At least the Falcons next year will have Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Like, give Arthur Smith those level of weapons with Ryan Tannehill. I think that's an amazing reunion. I think it absolutely works on so many levels. Another guy I'd be really high on is Derek Carr. A lot of people don't like Derek Carr. I don't know why. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. He signed a 3-year, $121 million extension. He's set to get $40 million in base salary guarantees for 23 and 24. That's easily restructured if you get him. Push some of that money down the road, add some new money on. If you're going to make a deal for a quarterback, you want to try to keep him and have stability there for more than 2 seasons. But, again, I think Derek Carr, with Arthur Smith is an absolute home run. It's an absolute home run. Again, I just objectively, I'm there. I think that those guys are quarterbacks that I could get interested in. Now, here's another interesting guy that will be a free agent this coming off season that you look at and you wonder what he would be like had he had weapons around him and for his entire career had he had a high level coach. That's Daniel Jones. Now, as a Giants fan, I'm kind of like, on Daniel Jones, if they moved on, I wouldn't be totally disappointed. I wouldn't be totally bummed out. You know, but you've seen with Daniel Jones what he can do with a play caller like Brian Daboll, who I think Arthur Smith and Brian Daboll are two of the best schemers in the league. They're two of the best guys at what they do. What I want, the only upside to Daniel Jones right now at this point in time is his age. He's young. And so, because of his age, you can look at what he is and say, can Arthur Smith make him better? I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is generally yes. Do I want him over Desmond Ridder? Probably not. Speaking of guys who, could be cast off very quickly, Zach Wilson may become available from the New York Jets. Do you want Zach Wilson as the number 2 overall pick? The talent is there because he was the number 2 overall pick, but I would probably pass on a guy like Zach Wilson at this point in time. Not for me. One guy this year that is having a MVP caliber year that is about to hit free agency is Geno Smith. Geno Smith's 32. He finally had a resurgence at 32 after being, I think it was an early second round pick, if I remember correctly, late first round, early second round. I wouldn't want Geno Smith. I think this is lightning in a bottle. I don't think he's that good. I don't know if Seattle would let him go anyway, but if he was available, is that the guy I want? Probably not. For me, just not my guy. And I think that speaks volumes to what you're going to see over the next couple of weeks from Seattle. They're on a downturn, and you're going to see it because at some point in time, the regression for Geno Smith was coming because in reality, he's just generally not that good. And then finally, one more name out there that I absolutely would take a look at, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo. I know not a lot of people like him. I know not a lot of people think that he's all that good. Jimmy Garoppolo's won big games. He's won big road playoff games. He's won big home playoff games. The big question for Jimmy Garoppolo is his health. Can he survive? And yeah, it's a real legit question to ask with the Falcons because they can't block. They can't pass protect. They'll get killed here. It's a hospital visit waiting to happen for Jimmy Garoppolo. So while I love the level of quarterback play that he provides, his injury stability is a little bit of an issue for me. So I don't know. I just thought that was a fun exercise for you guys to go through, look at the quarterbacks around the league because, and it tells you, like I've said repeatedly, there are plenty of other teams going through the same exercise the Falcons are this offseason. Where are we at quarterback? What do we want to do? How do we want to try to handle it? And what exactly do we hope to get out of all this? Falcons are not alone in that sense. All right, we have some power shifting to get to here and shovels of wisdom. We'll get to that in a moment. I want to remind you guys to make Locked On Falcons your very first listen. We appreciate you doing so. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. It's available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.